It was a quiet morning at Hopetail's Rescue, a small animal shelter tucked away in the suburbs of Pennsylvania. The air smelled faintly of fresh pine shavings and dog shampoo. Volunteers moved slowly, cleaning kennels and filling water bowls. Nothing out of the ordinary. Until the door opened and in walked Donald J. Trump. No cameras, no press. Just him in a dark coat and a red tie, with that unmistakable presence. The room froze. Behind the front desk sat Kayla Henderson, early 30s, proudly progressive, nose ring. Blue hair pulled into a loose bun and a worn-out "No Justice, No Peace" sticker on her laptop. She looked up, blinked, and then squinted in disbelief. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered. Trump walked toward the desk calmly, glancing at a few dogs playing in the fenced area. "Morning," he said with a polite nod. "I called earlier. Said I'd come by to meet Liberty." Kayla's smile was thin. "You're here to adopt a dog?" "That's right," he said. "Saw her story online. Thought she deserved better." She leaned back in her chair, folding her arms. "Right, so now you want to save something?" He raised an eyebrow but didn't react. "Sorry," she added quickly, fake casual. "Just didn't expect someone who cages children at the border to suddenly care about animals." Trump paused for a beat, then looked her in the eye. "Are you turning me away because of my politics?" he asked. "Or because you already made up your mind about the kind of person I am?" Kayla scoffed. "I made up my mind the day you bragged about grabbing women and lied your way into the White House." He didn't blink. "I'm not here to argue with you," he said. "I'm here for Liberty, the dog, not a political lecture." But Kayla leaned forward, voice rising. Funny coming from the guy who spent 4 years lecturing the whole country about borders, flags, and family values, while cutting healthcare and selling weapons overseas. Trump sighed, folding his hands calmly. "I came here as a citizen, a man who loves dogs. You're the one making it political." The tension crackled like a lit fuse. "And Liberty?" She was watching through the kennel gate, tail wagging slowly, waiting. Kayla stood up now, arms crossed, chin slightly raised. The room had gone completely quiet, except for the soft whimper of Liberty behind the gate. "You know," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm, "we usually do background checks to make sure our dogs go to good people. People who won't. Use them as a photo op." Trump gave her a look, calm, controlled, but direct. "I don't need a photo op," he said. "I need a dog. That one, specifically." Kayla let out a short laugh. "You mean Liberty? Oh, the irony." She circled behind the desk, grabbing the clipboard but not looking at it. "You think waving flags and talking about freedom means something, but all I see is a billionaire who sold weapons to Saudi Arabia while preaching about American values." He didn't move. "You talk about family," she continued, "while separating children at the border. You praise religion while mocking the poor. You say you love this country, but you only ever love the version of it that serves you." Trump's jaw tightened for half a second, but his voice remained steady. "I believe in a country where people can speak their mind," he said. "Even if they sound like you." Kayla raised an eyebrow. "Cute, but you know what I believe in? Justice, and giving a vulnerable rescue dog to the man who cut environmental protections, banned trans soldiers, and gave tax cuts to billionaires. That's not justice. That's insanity." She slammed the clipboard down on the desk. "We don't give dogs to people like you." Trump took a breath. "People like me? You mean veterans, small business owners, working-class Americans who still believe in the flag and faith and family?" She rolled her eyes. "No, I mean people who think the world owes them something just because they yell America first loud enough." He took a step forward, calm, measured. His voice dropped just slightly. "You know what I think?" he said. "I think you're scared of the idea that someone like me might actually care. Because if that's true, then your entire worldview falls apart." Kayla stared at him, lips tight, heart pounding. Liberty barked softly behind them, tail wagging. And suddenly, the office didn't feel like a shelter anymore. It felt like a battlefield. Kayla leaned against the desk now, staring him down. "You really don't get it, do you?" she said. "You walk in here like you're just a regular guy. But you're not. You're a symbol of everything people like me fight against." Trump folded his arms. "Because I want to adopt a dog?" "No," she snapped. "Because you represent white privilege. Billionaire arrogance. The kind of America that thinks straight, rich, conservative men deserve the world while the rest of us are just trying to survive." He raised an eyebrow. "So now we're vetting dog adopters based on race, income, and political views?" Kayla laughed bitterly. "Don't twist it. This is about power. You have it. You used it to hurt people. And now you want to act like you care?" He paused, then looked her dead in the eye. "I didn't come here to be liked. I came here to give a dog a home. That's rich," she said. "Coming from the man who gutted environmental protections while this planet burns. Who banned trans people from serving their country. Who thinks family values only matter if the family looks like yours." Trump didn't blink. "I believe in family," he said quietly. "In protecting what's real. That includes our borders, our businesses, and yes, even our dogs." Kayla stepped forward now, her voice rising. "You think you're the one protecting something? You represent guns over safety, corporations over climate, religion over equality. I represent responsibility," he cut in. "Calm, firm, and I don't need your approval to show kindness." Her face flushed. "You're not kind, you're calculated. You always have a camera nearby, always a message, always an angle." Trump gave a slight nod. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe I just saw a dog no one wanted, and I decided not to walk away." For a moment, even Kayla didn't know what to say. Liberty barked softly again, waiting. And the silence between them wasn't empty. It was full of everything neither of them was willing to admit. Kayla's jaw clenched. Her voice was sharper now, cutting. "You want to act like this is about a dog, but it's not. It's about you trying to prove something you're not." Trump stood still. His eyes didn't leave hers. She stepped forward, voice rising. "You've spent your whole life stepping on people. Immigrants, journalists, protesters, even your own allies. And now you think walking into a shelter and picking a dog makes it all go away?" He didn't answer. He waited. "You talk about family," she continued, her words quickening. "But I've seen the interviews. I've seen how your wife looks at you, how your kids talk about you. You think that's love?" There it was. Even she knew she'd gone too far. But she didn't stop. "You don't love. You dominate. You control. You brand everything you touch. And now you want to slap your name on a dog and call it compassion?" Trump's eyes narrowed slightly, but his voice remained steady. "You don't know me," he said softly. She scoffed. "I know enough." "No," he said again. "You know headlines, tweets, clips out of context. You know the image they built for you to hate. But you don't know the man who held his brother's hand when he was dying, or the one who sat up nights with Barron when he was sick, or the one who's been more loyal to this country than most people who chant about progress while they tear it apart." Kayla hesitated. Trump took a step closer, not threatening, just present. "You think I don't feel things? That I've never cried for something I've lost? You don't need to like me. But don't stand there and tell me I don't understand love." She stared at him. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. Behind them, Liberty sat quietly, watching the two people at war, neither of them moving, both of them shaking the ground beneath them in silence. Kayla's voice cracked now, no longer controlled, no longer clever. "You don't belong here," she said, her words shaking. "Not in this shelter, not in this town, not in this America." Trump took a breath, not out of anger, but patience. Kayla pointed toward the door. "We fight for equality here, for progress, for people who've been trampled on their whole lives. You're the reason they're afraid. You're the reason we even need shelters like this. He looked at her, eyes steady. You think I'm the enemy because I wear a suit and speak my mind? He asked. Because I believe a country should protect its own before saving the world. She shook her head. You believe in walls, in guns, in silencing people who don't look like you. Trump took a step forward. I believe in law, in strength, in family, and in the kind of freedom that lets you stand here and say what you just said. To me, she froze. You scream about compassion, he continued. But you have none, not for the unborn. Not for the people in small towns losing everything. Not for the veterans sleeping under bridges while your politicians fund wars overseas. His voice was still calm, but the weight of every word was undeniable. You preach acceptance, he said, but you've judged me since the second I walked in. Not based on what I said, not based on what I did. Just based on a name, a hat, a headline. Kayla opened her mouth, but nothing came. Trump looked down at Liberty, still watching from behind the kennel. I came here to give that dog a home, he said. I didn't expect forgiveness. I didn't come to change your mind. I just didn't think kindness needed a permission slip. He turned to leave. But Liberty let out a soft, almost pleading bark. He stopped. And so did she. Kayla stared at him, jaw tight, fists clenched by her sides. You think you're a patriot, she said, voice low and shaking. But you're just a relic. A loud, bitter shadow of an America that's dying. Trump didn't move. She stepped toward him now, closer than before. You talk about borders, faith, family. But all I see is a scared old man clinging to a past that never existed. The great America you love was built on stolen land and broken people. He exhaled through his nose, but said nothing. You say you want to protect this country? She spat. Protect it from what? From progress? From women having rights? From brown kids getting the same chance your son had? She leaned forward, venom in her voice. This is not your country anymore. It belongs to us now, the future. And it's not red, white, and blue. It's rainbow. The room went dead silent. Trump raised his head. His voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. You think you're fighting for the future, he said. But all you're doing is tearing down the past and pretending it never mattered. Kayla scoffed. But he continued. You think tradition is oppression, that strength is cruelty, that faith is hate. You think family is just a construct, that gender is a costume, and that patriotism is dangerous. His voice hardened now, not louder, just sharper. But I'll tell you what's dangerous. A country that forgets what built it. A people that shame those who love it. And a generation that believes destroying everything is the same as fixing it. Kayla's mouth opened, but the words didn't come. Trump turned toward Liberty again. America isn't perfect, he said. But it's still worth fighting for. Even if I have to fight in a shelter just to take a dog home. He looked back at her one last time. And if this really isn't my country anymore, then why does it look so afraid of me? Kayla stood frozen, the words he had just spoken echoing louder than she wanted to admit. She should have felt victorious. After all, she had said everything she came to believe. Everything her side believed. And yet, something inside her was shaking. Trump turned his attention back to Liberty, as if the moment had passed. But Kayla's voice cut through the silence. Low, bitter, defensive. You always walk away, don't you? She said. You say your piece, drop your one-liners, and leave the rest of us to clean up the mess. He turned, calmly. I've spent my whole life cleaning up messes, he replied. Sometimes even yours, she scoffed. There it is, that ego. That savior complex. You don't fix things. You use them. People, countries, now dogs. Trump tilted his head slightly. So that's what you think this is? A photo op with a dog to make myself feel human? I think you're desperate, she snapped. Desperate to be liked, to seem normal. But it's too late for that. People don't believe in your version of America anymore. Trump stepped forward, not threatening, just firm. Maybe not in places like this, he said quietly. But you'd be surprised how many still do. He looked her straight in the eye. People who pray before they eat, who still salute the flag, who teach their kids to stand tall and speak respectfully. They don't scream about justice, they live it. Quietly, every day. For a moment, Kayla blinked. Her jaw clenched, but something in her face shifted. She hated how calm he was. How sure he sounded. How much it unnerved her. I'm still not approving the adoption, she said, more sharply than before. No matter how many speeches you give. Trump nodded slowly. I figured. He glanced down at Liberty, who was now standing at the gate, ears perked, eyes fixed on him as if she knew exactly what was at stake. And even though Kayla didn't want to feel it, she did. Liberty had already made her choice. Trump turned toward the door, his steps steady, calm. It was clear he wasn't going to beg. But just as his hand reached for the handle, Liberty let out a sharp, aching whine. Everyone in the room stopped. She pressed her paws against the kennel door, tail wagging slowly at first, then faster, her head tilted. Another soft whimper escaped her throat. Trump paused, but didn't turn back. Then came the scratching, gentle at first, then urgent. Her claws tapping against the metal like a heartbeat that refused to be ignored. Kayla's jaw clenched. She's not yours, she said quickly. She doesn't know who you are. Trump turned halfway, just enough for his voice to carry. She knows enough. Kayla walked toward the kennel, but Liberty didn't look at her. She was locked onto Trump, eyes wide, body tense, hopeful. She's just a dog, Kayla muttered. Trump nodded slowly. Sometimes dogs see what people refuse to. The silence in the room grew heavy. Kayla stepped back, breathing faster now, her chest rising with something she didn't want to name. Doubt? Guilt? I'm not letting her go, she said flatly, though her voice trembled. I don't care what she does. I make the decisions here. Trump turned fully now, finally looking straight at her again. And what happens when the thing you're trying to protect doesn't want your protection anymore? That one hit, hard. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Liberty barked once, loud, demanding, as if casting her vote. The air in the room felt thick like something real had just broken, but no one wanted to look at the pieces. Kayla stood frozen near the kennel, arms limp at her sides. She couldn't take her eyes off Liberty, who had now gone completely still, ears high, eyes locked on the man near the door. Trump didn't say anything. He didn't need to. He took a slow step forward, not toward Kayla, not toward power, but toward Liberty. Toward the one soul in the room who had no ideology, no agenda, just instinct. Liberty let out a soft sound, half whine, half sigh, and pressed her nose through the kennel bars. Waiting, Kayla turned toward him sharply. You think this means something? She asked, almost desperately. That just because a dog wants you, you're the good guy? Trump paused. I don't need to be the good guy, he said softly. Just the right one. Kayla flinched. You destroyed so much, she whispered. I still don't believe you deserve her. Trump looked at her, really looked at her. Maybe I don't, he said. But maybe it's not about what we deserve. Maybe it's about what we do next. She swallowed hard. Something in her chest ached, and she didn't understand why. I built my life hating people like you, she said quietly, and I never once thought that one of them might walk in here and care. Trump nodded slowly, no gloating, no smile. I didn't come to change your mind, he said. I came for her. He walked over to the kennel, knelt down, and placed a hand gently against the bars. Liberty licked his fingers once, then twice, then sat, still as stone, eyes filled with something deeper than obedience. Kayla's breath hitched. She looked at the dog, then at the man, and finally at herself. And for the first time, she had nothing left to fight with. She reached behind her slowly, took the key from the hook, and stepped toward the gate. Her hand shook. "I'm not doing this for you," she said. "I know," Trump replied. She unlocked the latch. The gate creaked open, and Liberty didn't hesitate. She walked straight to him. No leash, no command, just trust. Trump stood, placed a hand gently on Liberty's back, and turned to the door without another word. He paused once, just before leaving. "You don't have to agree with me," he said over his shoulder. "You just have to ask yourself one question." Kayla blinked. "What?" He looked back, eyes steady, voice quiet. "If people like me can change, can you?" And with that, he stepped into the light, Liberty by his side. And Kayla? She was still standing in the middle of the room, holding the key to something she no longer understood. If this story moved you, if you believe in second chances, in standing strong for what's right, and in the power of quiet courage, then don't leave without letting your voice be heard. Press like to show you still believe in truth, dignity, and values that matter. Make sure to subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be told. And tell us in the comments, do you think Liberty made the right choice? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Your voice matters. Your values matter. And together, we'll keep them alive, one story at a time.